أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I have a riddle for you, Paheli. Listen carefully. General Sherman lives in California. General Sherman is more than 2,000 years old, and General Sherman weighs over 4 million pounds. Who is General Sherman? All right, one more time. So imagine when the Jews were trying to crucify Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, General Sherman was alive. When Abu Jahl thought that he was going to crush Islam, General Sherman was alive. When Columbus discovered America, he didn't discover General Sherman sitting quietly somewhere in California. Who is General Sherman? It's a giant sequoia. It's a tree. Sequoias are the cousins of redwoods, very tall tree. एक बहुत बड़ा दरख्त है जिसका ये नाम है. These sequoias grow in the Sierra Nevada mountains, and they start with one small little seed. Today, General Sherman is 275 feet tall. A typical tall tree, a big oak, is 50 to 75 feet tall. This ceiling is about 50 feet tall. When you go on the streets today after the Jalsa, the tallest tree that you will see, General Sherman is probably 4 or 5 times taller than that. If you put these two projection screens together, the trunk of General Sherman is wider than that. You look at that tree, और आपको खुदा याद आ जाता है. You look at that tree and you think of God. It reminds you of Allah. Ahmadiyyat started similarly. One small seed. In 1882, when Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam was unknown to mankind, no followers, 0. Allah reveals to him that today you are like a seed, but I shall make sure that you will sprout into a plant, the plant will grow into a tree, the trunk will get bigger, and then the branches will go all over the world. Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam published that prophecy, made it public. Everyone came to know about it. And then this alone person, you have to think about it. Living in a town unknown to mankind, inaccessible to train, let alone aeroplanes. There is not a post office at that place. And in 1889, when Hazur takes the first bayt, just 40 people join him. 7 years later, 1896, he has about 300 followers. And at that time, people are jeering and mocking him. They're saying, you're never going to become a tree. This is not going to happen. And you know what he says? Hazur says, Abhi, हमारे मुखालिफों में बहुत से ऐसे आदमी भी हैं जिनका हमारी जमात में दाखिल होना मुक़द्दर है. वो मुखालिफत करते हैं, पर फरिश्ते उनको देखकर हंसते हैं कि तुम बिलाखिर इन्हीं लोगों में शामिल हो जाओगे. वो हमारी मख्फी जमात है जो एक दिन हमारे साथ मिल जाएगी. Hazur says, while they oppose us, but the angels smile at them, knowing that one day they are going to join us. That's our hidden community, which is going to join us one day. That's the confidence. And you know, in Al-Badr, December 5th, 1902, Jamaat had 100,000 followers. Al-Hakam, July 10th, 1903, Hazur writes, 300,000 followers. You may think, Success is no big deal. Apple grows pretty fast, the company Apple. Facebook has lots of followers. Yes, but their CEOs don't predict that they are going to grow fast. Actually, quite the opposite. If you are going to go buy an Apple stock, they're going to say, past performance is no guarantee for future results. Isn't that what's written on every stock? So the story of the seed is not just a story of rags to riches. You must understand, this is the story of ilham. This is the story of a prophecy. Anytime you'll show me another company or another faith or anybody who has succeeded, my question is going to be, did they predict this? Show me the data, and you're not going to be able to find that. I looked it up. More than 60 people have claimed to be a Messiah or a Mahdi in the history of mankind. There's a Wikipedia page dedicated to that. You don't find their movements around today. You don't find their pictures. That's what Allah does. Mahdi Sudani didn't survive in Africa. And Mahdi Hindustani conquered Africa. Really think about the paradigm. This is a giant sequoia. This is powerful. And this is not just happening because of our strategies. This is not happening because we're doing something. Kataballahu la'aghlibanna ana wa rusuli. That's what Allah Ta'ala says in Holy Quran. Allah has decreed, most surely I will prevail and my messengers. Hazur says, yaqinan samjho ke ye khuda ke haath ka lagaya hua pauda hai. Rest assured, this is a tree planted by the hand of God. Khuda isko hargiz zaya nahi karega. Wo razi nahi hoga jab tak isko kamal tak na pahuncha de. Hazur says, Allah will never let it be wasted. He will not be satisfied until He has seen it through to its heights. और वो इसकी आपाशी करेगा. He will irrigate it. और इसके इर्द गिर्द एहाता बनाएगा. He will build a fence around it. और ताज्जुब अंगेज तरक्कियात देगा. ताज्जुब अंगेज तरक्कियात देगा. He will bless it with astounding progress. It takes time. I know some of you are either too young or you still want to search the market. That's perfectly okay. There was a time on me as well. If you're sitting out there thinking about the World Cup score, I was once like that too. You don't have to be embarrassed. It takes time, my dear brothers and sisters, but it will come. A day will come, you'll understand how inconsequential that World Cup is and what a giant sequoia this Jamaat is. But see, from a worldly standpoint, there was no reason for this seed to flourish. You try to grow grass, just throw grass seed in your backyard, and if the heat goes up, or if you don't water it, it dies. Bad conditions are going to kill the seed. There was no worldly reason. Hazrat Masih Maud would have guests that he was unable to feed, and Hazrat Amma Jan would offer her jewelry to feed the guests. He would have to give his own bedding to the guests so they could sleep. There are movements devoted to destroy the seed. There are YouTube channels dedicated to burn the seed. There are elections that are won promising that we will uproot the seed. There are governments that take pride that we will eradicate this seed. There is no reason, no worldly reason for this seed to still flourish. But Hazrat Masih Maud says, Kya tumne kuch kamzor lagaya? He says, have you not tried hard enough? बस अगर ये इंसान का काम होता तो कभी का ये दरख्त काटा जाता और इसका नामो निशान बाकी न रहता. Had it been the work of man, this tree would have been cut and felled since long, and no trace of it would have been remained. However, they still tried. You know, they tried to throw fire at the seed. Really? You're going to scare us from fire? Allah Ta'ala says in Holy Quran, O fire, be thou cold and a means of safety for Abrahams. Are you going to scare a sequoia from fire? Don't you know that the forest fire departments, their policy is not to stop a fire in a sequoia grove. They let the fire go because sequoias are fireproof. Their bark does not catch fire. Actually, they need fire to regenerate. When there is fire among sequoia trees, these tall trees, you know what happens? The fire burns all the weeds around. It clears the bed of the forest. And there are these cones high up on the sequoia tree. The fire opens up the cones and a rain of seed comes and falls down on this fertile ground. And guess what? The sequoias regenerate. You're going to scare us with fire? Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam says, and you know what I'm about to say, आग हमारी गुलाम है, बल्कि हमारे गुलामों की भी गुलाम है. Jai. And Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam has taught us not to rub it in. Hazur didn't do that. Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam has taught us to think good of others. So we still think good. We still believe that some of them may have prayed. Some of them may have begged to Allah that, oh Allah, destroy this seed. But this is what Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam had in response. Agar tumhare mard, और तुम्हारी औरतें और तुम्हारे जवान और तुम्हारे बूढ़े और तुम्हारे छोटे और तुम्हारे बड़े सब मिलकर मेरे हलाक करने के लिए दुआएं करें, यहाँ तक कि सजदे करते करते नाक गल जाएं और हाथ शल हो जाएं, तब भी खुदा हरगिज़ तुम्हारी दुआ नहीं सुनेगा और नहीं रुकेगा जब तक वो अपने काम को पूरा ना कर ले. Hazur says, if you're men and you're women and you're young and you're old and you're youth and your elders all pray for my death to the point that their noses rot in prostrations and their hands become numb, even then Allah will never accept your prayers and He will not stop unless He completes His work. He was alone. He didn't know that one day this will be discussed on the corners of the earth. You and I didn't exist, but it was a sequoia seed planted by the hand of Allah. Jai. The world seeks certainty. We all like to be sure of the future. And when we don't sense certainty, we become anxious. Stock markets go down. Mothers become worried for their children. Bad things have happened in the past. People have mocked at prophets, and nations have been destroyed. Hazrat Ad's people were arrogant. The people of Samud used to mock their prophet. Hazrat Shoaib's people would give short measure and they were corrupt. Hazrat Lut's people had sexual misconduct. The people of Hazrat Moses would trample human rights. Why am I narrating this? Because to give you an idea that sum total of those vices exist today in your society and my society, don't they? All of those things exist today in sum total, in totality. So don't you think God will have a response? Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam had this to say, और दुनिया में एक हशर बरपा होगा, a calamity will inflict the world, वो अव्वलुल हशर होगा, और तमाम बादशाह आपस में एक दूसरे पर चढ़ाई करेंगे और ऐसा कुछ तो खून होगा कि ज़मीन खून से भर जाएगी. He said, all kings will rise up against each other and there will be such bloodshed that earth will be filled with blood. और हर एक बादशाह की रियाया भी आपस में खौफनाक लड़ाई करेगी. And even the nations will fight against other nations. एक आलमगीर तबाही आवेगी. A world war shall ensue. और इस तमाम वाक़यात का मरकज़ मुल्क शाम होगा. And the epicenter of all of this will be Syria. Up until 10 years ago, nobody could see it coming. These words were written over 100 years ago. We want certainty, but we also want to invest in bitcoins, right? Isn't that what we were all talking about last year? You all knew it was such a great thing. Why didn't you sell your house and your car and invest it in bitcoins? You talked about it, you asked questions. I'm asking you because deep down you knew it could sink. You were not certain. They say the FANG stocks yielded 47% last year. I'm going to give you a second example because you may think, well, I've lost one opportunity of bitcoins. I'm going to give you another one. FANG stands for Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and Google. These 5 stocks together, if you had these 5 stocks last year, you would have 47% yield. Why don't you go and sell your house today or your car and invest in FANG stocks? They're doing great. By the way, they're still doing great, but you won't. Because again, the prospectus says past performance is no guarantee for future results. But you keep coming here. You keep bringing your children here. Why? Your heart knows. The same seed is in you as well. You know, this is a sequoia. This is a tall tree. This is where I'm safe. This is where I have Khilafat. The world has its plans for that uncertain day. California has a seed bank where they're saving all the sequoia seeds that, God forbid, if something were to happen to those small areas in Sierra Nevada mountain, that they could replant sequoias. When I say sequoia, think of this tall tree. एक बहुत बड़ा दरख्त, 275 feet बड़ा दरख्त, a tree 275 feet tall. A few hundred miles away from North Pole, there's a town in Norway called Svalbard. You know what's in Svalbard? They call it the Global Seed Vault. Hidden in the mountains is a big, like a safe of a bank where they have over 1 million different seeds. One of the reasons is that, God forbid, there was a world catastrophe and all the farming was to end, they would have all the seeds available in Svalbard to get the world restarted. Ahmadiyyat does not have such a risk. You are not at risk. Not because I'm saying it, because these are the words of Masih al-Islam. This is a promise of Allah. Allah not only planted these sequoias in India, Allah did not plant these trees in small little valley. Allah started it from India, and those of you who are old enough to see, in 1983, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih al-Rabi, when he gave the address at Jalsa Salana, Jamaat Ahmadiyyat had grown to 102 countries back then. And today, you know that we are global. These trees grow in every climate. The tree of Ahmadiyyat, the seed of Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam, grows in every area, in every climate. And it's safe because he is the vault. Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam says, Is zamana ka hisne hisin main hu. I am that secure fortress of this day. Inni uhafizu kulla man fid dar. All of you, he said, Allah's words, I shall protect whoever is in this house. There is no uncertainty for you. By the grace of Allah. Masih Maud alayhi salatu wasalam says, within 300 years, this will be the dominant faith on earth. We are just seeing the 2nd century. Can you feel the sequoia growing? If you can't, talk to your elders. Talk to those who attended those small little jalsas in Qadian. Talk to those who walked the streets of Rabwa. But are we safe? Because see, the movement comes with Allah's guarantee, no question about it. There is no way Jamaat Ahmadiyya can be eradicated. Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wassalam said, अगर इंसानों में से एक भी मेरे साथ ना हो तो खुदा के फरिश्ते मेरे साथ होंगे. His confidence is such. He says, if all of you desert me, Allah's angels will come and join me. The movement is at no risk. But is that true for you and I as well? Did Masih Maud Islam also give a guarantee that you put a label of Ahmadi and you're good to go? It doesn't work that way. No, sir. Allah has spread His seed all over the world. وَآخَرِينَ مِنْهُمْ لَمَّا يَلْحَقُوا بِهِمْ. That's about you. That's about us. That's how blessed we are. For a second, think about it. We are mentioned in Holy Quran. We are not worthy of anything. Not that we deserve it. It's just Allah's Sattari, just His shroud, just His cover. He knows the depths of our hearts. But yet He mentions you in Holy Quran. But that comes with a responsibility, my dear brothers and sisters. The seed is not going to grow because some government big shot is going to help us. We are not dependent on them. We want to spread the message of true Islam. True, that's true. But we don't look for them for help. And that's not even a work for us. If you really think about it, making Ahmadiyyat successful is not the primary job given to us. Masih Maud alayhi salatu wassalam says, खुदा इस जमात को एक ऐसी कौम बनाना चाहता है जिसके नमूना से लोगों को खुदा याद आवे. Please, please, no naras. Sir, no naras. This is something for us to internalize. Are we those people? If we are, go ahead. Raise a slogan. Go ahead. If you think that people look at you and they think of God, go ahead. I can't. That's a huge burden. अगर आपको लगता है कि आपको देख के लोगों को खुदा याद आ जाता है तो लगाइए नारे. There is a time and place for everything, my dear brothers and sisters. There's a time and place for reflection. Masih Maud alayhi salatu wassalam, I say this with utmost humility because I'm nobody. But Hazrat Masih Maud Islam says, God wants to make this movement of such people who remind others of Allah. And when that happens, you don't have to make Jalsa speeches. It doesn't work that way. Allah uncovers it as well. Yesterday, at this Jalsa, I came to know of a man who's blessed with a lot of success in his worldly life and who was also blessed with a lot of services in Jamaat, but this year didn't happen to have any work, any duty for Jalsa. And he was going to the bathroom, and you know when you open a door and you're looking at the commode and it's clean and you close the door. And what do you do if the bathroom is dirty? What do? You move on to the next one, right? That's the natural thing. You know what this man did? He shut the door. He looked at his opportunity. Shut the door, spilled water everywhere, cleaned that bathroom, crisply dried it with all the napkins, and left a clean bathroom for the next person, walked away. People will find God in us when we will follow a appointee of God rather than this world. If we will chase the words of Allah as appointee rather than chasing stocks and brands and clothes and all that materialism, you know what I'm talking about. We have to live in this world, nothing against wearing good stuff and enjoying good life. But still, people can feel that compass. What's the first priority? And as we will start doing that, just like I saw, and now on a different note, Allah is my witness that because of the grace and blessings and prayers and the role modeling of Khalifatul Masih, I have seen a lot of people at this Jalsa who reminded me of God. Allah is my witness. Not one, not two. They're young, they're old, they're Pakistanis, they're non-Pakistanis. They come in all different varieties. There is no way. That seed isn't going anywhere. But we have to keep growing. It's a lifelong process. It's never going to finish. It will not end. It should not end. But the responsibility is with us. We can't just expect Jamaat to do it, Sadr Sahib to do it. We can't expect. Ultimately, we are the ones who did Bai'at. There is an individual responsibility. Somebody said, in the age of information, ignorance is a choice. Khutbah is everywhere now. You can find it wherever. So my take-home message for all of you and myself, my dear brothers and sisters, what Huzur said in his message to us. Number one, 5 daily prayers. What can be more simple than that? Number two, watch MTA. Make sure you dedicate a TV in your homes for MTA. Read the books of Masih Maud alayhi salatu wassalam. In April, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih asked us to read Kashti-e-Nuh. Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salatu wassalam has said, Kashti-e-Nuh ka baar mutaliya karo aur uske mutabik apne aap ko banao. Read this book over and over again, Huzur says, and then mold yourself according to what it says. I'm not going to ask you to raise your hands, but I do want everyone's attention for a mental commitment. Since April of this year, have we read Kashti-e-Nuh, Noah's Ark, cover to cover, word by word, line by line? Shaitan may say in your minds right now, oh, I've read it so many times growing up. That doesn't count. Khalifatul Masih knows that. Khalifatul Masih instructed us to do that in April, 90 days ago, more than 90 days ago. So my request to you is, if you have not done it, can you make a mental commitment that you'll do it within a week? And if you can, if you have made that mental commitment, then go ahead and make a nara. That will be the time for a slogan. Because yes, now we're committing to something. No one? Just one? Just two? That's it? Zindabad. So now I will close. No better words than the words of Masih Maud alayhi salatu wassalam in this day and age. These are the last words of the book Noah's Ark. Huzur says, अब मैं ख़त्म करता हूँ और दुआ करता हूँ कि ये तालीम मेरी तुम्हारे लिए मुफीद हो और तुम्हारे अंदर ऐसी तब्दीली पैदा हो कि ज़मीन के तुम सितारे बन जाओ और ज़मीन उस नूर से रोशन हो जाए जो तुम्हारे रब से तुम्हें मिले. Ameen, summa ameen. I now conclude and pray that my teachings prove beneficial to you. May such a transformation take place within you that you become the stars of the earth and that the earth is illuminated by the light you have been granted by your Lord. Ameen, summa ameen. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.